Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I had to include that in the very beginning. It was a few days ago. I was playing in a store championship, and I was up against my friend Kevin. He was playing Law, and the table didn't have like a really great place to clamp the mount that I use to record the matches. So sadly, we ended up taking a bit of an L right there and losing a bit of the little bit of the footage on that match, and it was just so funny. I had to include it. But this is a different day, and we're playing another store championship, and we're playing up against Whitebeard here. He does play Ezo on turn 1, ends up finding Marco. This is a really interesting tech I found in his list. I was like, whoa, okay. So it does pick up the 3-cost vanilla Marco there. And our turn 1, we don't have any plays. Yeah, we're just going to pass it over. But turn 2, it looks like he might be playing that card. So we might just see like a 6k at life. Yep, there it is. We'll go ahead and take it. And then there goes the Marco. So one card that I didn't think I'd ever see in someone's list, I officially saw today. So that was pretty interesting. We're going to go up to 4 down here. I'm just going to go Brook and Nami. I want to try and go as wide as possible in this matchup. I want to get as many bodies on the board that I can swing 6. And I think that if you don't have the play of Marco into Nami on turn 2, I think it's best to just attach all your Dawn and swing at lead for a very big amount. Call it a day. But since he does have a 5-cost on the board, it does make swinging a little bit easier. I do choose to use that Thunder Bagua, though, ramping up a Dawn. Granted, I did correct it. It was supposed to be active off trigger, but not a huge deal here. Now, we do see the Atmos coming down. 4-cost Atmos is a bit of a pain, but not too big. So we're just gonna work with what we got. We're gonna swing at the Marco. I am gonna pay the 1 though. Take a look at the top 3. We do pick up a 2k chopper. Pretty happy about that. And I also see him trash a Marco, which makes me feel pretty decent as well, because that means that Sugar might have some ability in this game. We'll see. I'm just kind of considering I got 6 Dawn to work with. I'm thinking of whether I want to swing Brook for 1 or if I want to swing potentially into the Atmos. But I will just play the Sugar resting the Atmos and then swinging into it. I don't necessarily think this is a bad idea, going 8 into the Atmos here. I really just kind of wanted to get rid of a card that wasn't 5k. It was a little bit higher, but honestly, all things considered, not too bad. I think I could have freely went for the Marco, played blocker, but I like this play. It gets Sugar down before we see potentially like an ace turn. So ace could come down this turn, and this sort of protects my Nami a little bit better. Protects my Nami and Brook just a tiny bit, but I'll go ahead and rest the ace. I did do that pretty preemptively, so I was very happy about this. That I was able to think out, okay, so we might see ace on 7. And both Nami and Brook are going to be at 2k. And now we will see the 5k coming out. I will just use the Spider's Web, though, restanding the Nami. I'm fine if the Brook dies, but I do want the Nami to at least stay alive. And now we're more than likely just going to see 6 coming in at Brook. But I think he actually chooses to go 6 at lead here versus 6 at Brook. I think his overall plan was to get rid of the Nami, and since that kind of backfired, he does decide to pivot a little bit and go for life, since he's got a pretty outstanding board at the moment. But being at 9 Dawn, we don't have enough for that 10 cost just yet. But definitely going to swing into the Marco. I'll go ahead and pay the 1 though, because I think we have a 7-cost Luffy in hand to be able to get that and Uta down. But I'm considering whether I really want to go heavy into the ace. I could potentially go heavy this turn. I'm just kind of debating whether that's what I'm trying to do or not. Brook could swing into Ezo just so that we have a little bit of an easier time playing. Yeah, there we go. So we have an easier time playing Sugar in the future. But yeah, it's looking like a 7-cost turn after we maybe swing 6 with lead. Swing 6 with lead, play 7 cost into Uta, and just kind of build the board a little bit so that we can start going for game after that. Because the turn after, he should have 1 life, and then, yeah, pretty simple decisions from there. Though I guess the only problem is, do we see a double ace play? Does he play ace back-to-back turns? I am taking my time, though. I'm just kind of thinking of what's the route I want to go. I'll just go 6 at the life, though. Get a little counter card out of hand. He might potentially take it as well. Just does put him down into potential KO range. Looks like he's got a few events in hand, which isn't too shabby. But we do see another Marco coming down, countering out of that 6k swing. And now, for sure, gotta be 7-cost Luffy, right? Yeah, 7-cost Luffy into Uta. Go ahead and pass and restand the 2. But he does go up to the pretty, I don't know, arguably scary 9-cost turn here. But we'll see a Whitebeard Pirates search, looking at the top 5, is going to find another ace. So I'm assuming he just didn't have one since he picked that up. Gives me a little bit of information, knowing that after he plays that card, he's more than likely has nothing but counter cards in hand. But playing down the ace, I believe he lowers the, Luffy and the Uta, right? Keeps the Nami up. But Uta is kind of useless right now, just because she doesn't rest anything on board. She's just kind of a blocker that I know he's not going to be able to KO, so I'm more than likely just fine with taking one of the hits and then blocking the second one with Uta. But he's also considering I might have 10 cost this following turn. Not super relevant, but we'll just go 5 at Nami here. I'm considering if I want to restand potentially with Spider's Web. I don't think Thunder Bagua does me nothing this turn. If I block, Uta's at 2 and Luffy's at 4, so not really helpful to even use one of those. But yeah, 7 at the Nami. Does feel like I don't need the card. I do decide to let it go. I like that. It just didn't feel like it was super necessary. And he'll go ahead and pass, though. And 10 cost has never looked juicier than right now. Let me tell you. We got 1 life, 2 blockers on board, as well as multiple counters in hand. So I think 10 cost is looking pretty juicy. I am going to go 7 at the life, though. It doesn't really matter to me whether he has a rush card the following turn or not. Luffy is like, if he's got 5 cost Luffy, we're just, blockers are irrelevant anyways. I will play 10 cost Dofi, freezing up the 3 and then passing the turn. And now next turn we should pretty easily be able to go for game. I guess the only thing that we might have like a unique situation to deal with is if he does have quite a few blockers in hand. Then we got to swing pretty important, pretty, like, I don't know, smartly. But we'll see the Marco and the Fosa coming down. I think he just passes with 4 cards, or excuse me, 4 Dawn in hand. 4 Dawn active and like 6 cards in hand. Yeah, excuse me. Gosh, I just couldn't get that one through. I don't believe we have Sugar. I don't believe we could. I don't think so, though. Another 10 cost here would be insane, but I also don't think we have that. So I'm kind of racking my brain around what is the play. We got to deal with potentially two ace swings the following turn, a Marco swing, as well as a leader swing. So it's a bit interesting. I am going to swing 6, though, with Brook. It looks as though he had a lot of counter cards in hand, but they were mostly events. So he just wants to take a look at the trash, just kind of get an idea of, how many sugars can he be expecting. He sees 2 in the trash at the moment. So likelihood is that I don't have a 3rd, but, yeah, sometimes you can just get kind of lucky or arguably unlucky and have a bunch of those. But he blocks with the Fossa. That makes me feel as though his hand is a lot of events, or he is really trying to bait me. Because if I had Sugar right here, right, we play Sugar and then attach 8 Dawn to Doflamingo, maybe 9 Dawn, actually. I might just swing 6 with lead, 6 with Uta, actually, and then 7 with Luffy, and then the rest on Doflamingo. So we'd probably attach the 6 Dawn and swing 16 after those. But swinging 6 with lead, he does counter out with an Usopp, 2k counter right there. I told him that I really enjoy some of these interesting cards that he runs in the list. And now I will go 10 with Doflamingo at life. I don't wanna swing with blockers first, you know, because I could potentially be KO'd the following turn. I also don't want to use as much of my Dawn as possible, because I could potentially just play another blocker and then hope that that will end up getting me the dub here. But definitely a weird board state against Whitebeard in the late stages of the game. It's always kind of weird, especially for my opponent and I right now. We're kind of thinking about, like, how much can you potentially swing with if you have a certain card. You know, he's considering, okay, do you have Sugar, or is Sugar irrelevant? You know, if I just block with Marco, what can you do? You attach 8 Dawn, swing 15. You know, there's a lot of different things. I know that he's got 4 Dawn as well, and this blew my mind. He blocked with Marco, pitched a 2k counter Jozu. I'm like, what in the world? Now I'm just confused. I'm like, you blocked with Marco and pitched a 2k counter. I'm like, you're either bluffing me so hard right now, or you have to have the nuts, because you have 4 cards in hand. He just spread them out, and I'm talking to him right now. I'm like, dude, what? You're insane. And now I'm like, I don't know. I could try and go for game, but 9 times out of 10, whenever I try and go for game against Whitebeard and they got 4 Dawn active, they've got it, right? So I think to myself, okay, how many swings do I have to deal with? I have 1 life left. I got plenty of counters in hand. I think the safer play is to probably just go for the block right here, right? If I had a 7 cost and an Uta, play that for sure. I think we do have a 7 cost Luffy in hand. I don't believe we have the Uta, but yeah, this is turned out into like the wildest bluff catch. I'm like, dude, do I go for it, or do I just play the block? And I definitely take my time here. You know, we played a pretty quick match up to this point, so it's not like we were hurting for getting close on the clock or anything. And I do end up deciding to just go with the Luffy. I end up playing the Nami and paying the 1, so I did spend my final 8 Dawn. Sadly, did not find a counter card. The only card I could search out of the 3 was a Guild Tesoro. So, little unfortunate on that, and I'll just reactivate the 2 Dawn. Yeah, rough. I was hoping to find a counter card, but now my opponent has to get through 3 blockers. He's got to get through 3 blockers, and he's definitely got to swing with Marco first, because he knows that Uta just rests it. Punk Gibson also rests it. Yep. Punk Gibson also rests it. I mean, there's no world where you don't swing with Marco first here. Unless he really believes that he can survive 1 more turn as well, which would be crazy. I mean, if he can, I don't even know what to say. That would be hats off to him. I don't see any way. Oh yeah, so we end up chatting about it. I was like, dude, so if I had went for it, did you have it? And he was like, dude, yeah, I had you covered. And he showed me the events, and because I was like, look, we both know that the game's over after this turn. Did you have me covered? And he was like, yeah, I did. And yeah, he goes 7 at life here. I mean, all we have to do is counter out of this with 5 potential swings. We've got 3 blocks, 1 life, and we just have to counter out of 1. I do give him a counter here for a 2k and a 1k. Yeah, this guy was great though. He was super cool, super fun to have a match against. He will swing 7 here. I do choose to just block with the Uta. We'll see a 7 at life. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh wait, how much Dawn do you have? And I'm like, no, I should be fine no matter what. I was like, if you play 5 cost Luffy, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. And yeah, so he swings 7 again. We are just going to block that. And then we will see the 4 being rested for Jozu, swinging 7. I block, counter out, take the game. But pretty close one. I felt like it was crazy that he had 2 guard points, Red Hawk. And I was like, yeah, oh man, I'm super glad that I didn't decide to go for game, because I really was considering it. I was like, oh man, I don't know. But just got to play the safer route, knowing that as long as I block correctly, I pretty much have the game sealed. But guys, let me know your thoughts, and thanks for watching as always. I appreciate y'all, and check out the playmat in the description if you want to get your hands on something cool. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.